And on this episode of Bitch, You Serious? We have this from Cosmic Book News. Dakota Johnson reflects on Madam Web's disaster. It wasn't my fault. Okay. When Madam Web was announced, no one thought it was going to be a good movie. No one ever said, wow, Madam Web movie, that's going to be like the greatest thing ever. It's going to be better than Spider-Man movies. No, everyone knew it was going to be terrible. And then Dakota Johnson was cast in it. And it just confirmed, yeah, this is going to be the worst movie ever made. Dakota Johnson's not a great actress at all. The 50 Shades of Grey movies were fun. They were fun, entertaining, they were silly. But at no point did anyone ever say, wow, Dakota Johnson really made this the greatest experience ever. No, not even close. So for her to say, it wasn't my fault. It's like, you've been in Hollywood for a very, very, very long time. You have not gotten better at this at all. She has no idea what emotion is, and somehow she's in some new movie, I think called The Materialist, where she's in like a threesome with Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal. I have no idea what that movie's about. That's just the vibe I got from it. But yeah, you ain't bringing anyone to the box office, lady. But let's just say for a second, okay, that yes, the movie was garbage, but she turned out a fantastic performance. That was the problem I had with Sydney Sweeney, is that she was complaining about and laughing about how bad Madam Web was doing when she was on Saturday Night Live when she was popping her tits out. She was laughing about how bad the movie was doing. She was not great in that movie at all. At no point did I say, wow, Sydney Sweeney is absolutely killing it in this movie. No, she was just as boring and as bland and as terrible as everyone else in this movie. They were all bad. It was all your fault. It doesn't matter what creative changes were made. You could still be great in a bad movie. I think Cat Williams said this the best way. He said, it was early on in his career though, where he said, I might not be the star of these movies, but you will remember my scenes. He said something like that on the Shannon Sharp show though, and then it cut to a lot of clips of Cat Williams in these movies that yes, he might not have been the biggest name in it and the lead in these movies, but he had some fantastic lines, and his lines stood out more than everyone else's. You take advantage of the screen time you have, and everyone on Madam Web, none of them did anything right. And it's not a directing thing. I just don't think these women are really great actresses to begin with. So she says, it wasn't my fault. There's this thing that happens now where a lot of creative decisions are made by committee or made by people who just don't have a creative bone in their body. Also, they cast people that don't have an acting bone in their entire existence. You didn't make it. Again, how is it possible? How is it possible that when a movie is announced, people can tell if it's going to flop or not before we even remotely get a casting or a trailer or anything like that? They knew this was going to be bad. People knew Morbius was going to be bad. People knew Craven was going to be bad. These were not three movies that 100 years from now, society's going to be like, hey, these are actually Oscar-winning movies and Oscar performances. It's just that we weren't ready as a society for them. These were three movies that Sony realistically thought they were going to make their own Spider-Man franchise out of them. That, no, it's okay. We don't need Marvel. We don't need the Avengers. We have Spider-Man and his villains, and we are going to make something that is going to absolutely blow them out of the water. And these three movies flopped not only just terribly, they were also terrible movies with very, very, very few redeeming things about them. I don't know how any person working at Sony looked at these three movies and actually thought, yes, let's greenlight them. It's going to be fantastic. No. So Dakota Johnson here is saying, yes, that it's made, creative decisions are made by committee. Yeah, you know what? I get it. That happens. But you're Dakota Johnson. You're not a great actress to begin with, honey. You haven't really done a lot of great things in the world of Hollywood. You don't make products better. You're not bringing in anyone. And for her to go out, that was so incredibly confusing. That as the movie was coming out, everyone in this movie was just crapping on it. It's like, do you have any pride whatsoever? Can you imagine being paid for a movie, given a garbage performance, and then crapping on it when it's in theaters still? Who would hire you after this? Who would possibly want you in anything after this? If Sydney Sweeney was an A cup, she has no career. It's that simple. And Dakota Johnson is an A cup, and that's why she has no career to begin with. And Dakota Johnson is an A cup, so that's why she's got nothing else going on right now. She says that she was just sort of along for the ride. It's really hard to make art that way. I would love to hook her up to a lie detector test and say, are you a good actress? And just see what she says about that. Art, you made Madam Web. As someone that was a big fan of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and regards Spider-Man 2 as probably one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, I don't think those movies were art. They were just great movies. Did she think she was making an artsy movie? Did she think Madam Web was gonna be some kind of like, I don't know, like the movie The Artist, that silent film that won that Oscar? Like, did you think you were making something that was regarded as art? You're making just comic book movies. They're supposed to be fun and entertaining with good storylines and great action scenes, and that's it. And I think, unfortunately, with Madam Web, it started off as something and turned into something else. I would love to see what it started off as. If this was the final product, that the people in charge of the studio thought this was a good idea, what was the beginning product of it? Because, crazy thing is, I have to look it up, what exactly it was, though. The movie Wish, that movie that flopped hysterically in the box office during, the 100th anniversary of Disney or something like that, the original story of that, people found what it was supposed to be. It was awesome sounding. It sounded like a really, really great Disney movie. And then they said, it'd be a better idea? Let's just make it crap. There's no part of me that's like, oh, I'll never do that again, or anything I've done, even tiny movies that didn't do well, who cares? I don't know what that word salad is, but there is no reason to hire Dakota Johnson. There is no reason at all to think that she is going to remotely bring in a single solitary person to a theater. Just these quotes right here. I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, they changed things. It wasn't my fault. You weren't great in it. I don't believe. Let's just pretend for a second that was the direction that they gave her. That they told her, this is what your character's going to be. You're going to be boring and bland and just a plank of wood. Why is she like that in every movie? Why is she like that in everything she's ever done in her entire career? Amazing, right? That after this movie flopped as hysterically as it did, and everyone knew it, she's still out there doing Damage Control. It's amazing. Like, oh, what happened? What went wrong with the movie? I don't know. We tried some things out. The directors had a new direction. They did some rewrites, and we did the best that we could. Just say that. Be humble about it. But now she's like, oh, no. It wasn't my fault. It was their fault. No. It was your fault. It's always your fault. And it's always going to be your fault. But, in the end, what do you guys think about that?
I'll flip the tables, crack the lies, show out the thieves beneath the skies. No cage, no price, no blood but mine. You won't sell what's already divine. This house is sacred.